Well, it's over, but can you really say it's over when it's been over for years? Well, whatever it is. It's over now. Yeah. Yeah. So, the final episode, the reality war for Doctor Who. And boy, there's been a war on reality, that's for sure. I guess it's ongoing and whatnot. But in this case, why even bother? I mean, just lazy crap, slap job nonsense. Oh, I'm going to make it more about fantasy to excuse your laziness and just say everything's magic and whatnot. Expensive looking crap. The effects are probably at the highest they've ever been for Doctor Who. And what a waste, But just stupid crap. And the girl from the Time Hotel shows up to save the Doctor. Yeah, that one that he teased and lured and flirted with, and she falls in love with him, and then he just dumps her at the end of the year, But it's okay, he got her a job at the Time Hotel. Oh, and don't worry, she figured out he was gay, because she was checking in on all the other doctors who... Hey, there's something different about all of them. They don't appear to be, and then finally sees him dancing with that rogue guy, and she goes, oh. So then she gets knocked up by some other guy at the hotel, So it's fine. So she saves the Doctor, yeah. And he's like, oh no, I gotta stop the Ronnies, And so he just announces himself. Oh, first he had to put his dress on because, you got to be your true self and all that crap. So he does that, and then he leaps over to Unit to wake them up just by telling them to. And then suddenly they realize, oh no, something's wrong. And so then the Ronnies show up and say, hey, look, we're just trying to restore Gallifrey by resurrecting Omega or Omega. It's supposed to be Omega, isn't it? He called him Omega. Whatever. Anyway, so that's the deal. Then suddenly they decide to write in that Time Lords can't produce children. Oh, really? Okay. It just whatever. It doesn't matter, It just and if you want him to have a baby in the next episode, well, there's not going to be a next episode. But if there was a next episode, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, why even hold to something that happened 5 minutes ago, You don't have to. Just make it up as you go along, So anyway, of course, they open the door and there's Omega, but now he's a giant monster and stuff. And they said, well, it's how he sees himself and all that. Now, look, if you go back to the Three Doctors and then Arc of Infinity and all that, but especially the Three Doctors where Omega had basically become an entity of pure thought. He didn't really have a form anymore and all that stuff. He had one in Arc of Infinity, though, so I guess he figured that part out. But anyway, he was all powerful in his universe, but he wanted to come home. He wanted to come home to Gallifrey, and that was his main goal. He really had no other goal other than that. In this one, he's this, monster who wants to become the god of time or some crap, just whatever. And and don't forget the Doctor officially declared it that the Time Lords were murderers and tyrants. Yeah, the whole lot of them. That's right. Yeah. Yes. See how easy it is to wield that broad brush like a bigot. But then, of course, the Time Lords through the Timeless Children were there to represent the British Empire and stuff like that, Yeah. Yeah. They're not even good at that, to whatever crap message they want to spew. Dance around, whoop-de-doo, tiddly-dee, the doctor saves the day. But, oh no! He and Belinda had that daughter, but it was in the wish world, so she'll cease to exist when everything goes back to normal. So the doctor, unit, just happens to have a zero room handy. Yeah, they got one of those. And so the doctor says, hey, you and Poppy, what's her name? You and Poppy will be safe in there. So sure enough, after all's said and done, the doctor wins and they get the girl out, and there she is. Everything's fine. So gets on the TARDIS, and Ruby comes along, and then suddenly the little girl disappears, and Belinda and the doctor don't even notice, but Ruby does. For some reason, she's special. They teased you that there was something really incredibly special about Ruby, and then never delivered, and just said, no, her mom was a teenage girl in trouble, so she left the baby on the doorstep, and blah, blah, blah. And that was it. There was nothing to it. Just, well, that would be too obvious that she was something special. You've run out of episodes, so you're never really going to, if you had some plan to explain all this, because miraculous things would just happen around Ruby, Yeah. Okay, whatever. So just by telling him that, there was this daughter you had, and he's like, what? Oh, something's wrong with the timeline. So he's got to go find a way to make the girl real again or exist or something like that. And so he the only way to do it is to blast the vortex with his regeneration energy. So he zaps it with his lightning bolt hands. But before that, another doctor shows up to say, hey, you better not do this. And it's Jodie. Yeah, Jodie Whittaker shows up because he's messing with time or something. But she realizes she can't convince him, so they decide to hug each other and tell each other they're beautiful and amazing. And it's almost as if they're about to make out, So anyway, she leaves, and the doctor says, I love you. And she says, well, you never say that. I do now. I need to tell Yaz. Even though there's been no development or anything for that whole thing with Yaz. But, okay, whatever. She suddenly gets together with Yaz about 5 minutes before she regenerates into David Tennant, and then dumps her off on the street somewhere, before she generates into David Tennant. But then, of course, maybe she knew she was going to regenerate into David Tennant, and Yaz, not being for that team, wouldn't have liked that at all, That's funny how that works. Anywho, that was the deal. So I guess that means, Shooty's a better doctor because he can tell people he loves them, while the other doctors are a little nervous about that or some bullshit. Anyway, so he zaps the vortex, and lo and behold, Poppy is back. So yay, but he's got to regenerate now. And for some reason, he said you can't generate after doing this or something. Why? I don't know. The Ronnies generated. Yeah, whatever. Anywho, the young Ronnie got killed, eaten by Omega. But maybe he'll poop her out and she'll come back. I don't know. Anyway, he goes, and there's his daughter, and then Belinda says, well, yeah, that's why I was always trying to get home. I wanted to be with my daughter. So they just retconned the whole series that she had always had this daughter, and he just, I don't know, never paid attention or something. So, sure, why not? So that's that. He gets in the TARDIS, takes off, and then decides to open the door into outer space and say goodbye to the universe or whatever. and then he starts to glow, and then they superimpose Billy Piper's face on Judy Gatwa's shoulders, and she's like, "Oh, hello," and that's it. Yeah. Now already, this happens all the time with these crappy, awful, sorry excuses for a Doctor Who show that's just, violating the corpse at this point. I've already seen articles. Well, the Doctor, it's been in canon, which this show no longer cares about its canon. It says you're stupid if you do, So, but nevertheless, it says, hey, previous faces have influenced the Doctor, perhaps subconsciously, on choosing a face for his new body and all that. So, of course, you can go back to Peter Davison having been shot by Colin Baker on Gallifrey. So when he regenerates, he takes the face of the guy who shot him. But still, that would be a powerful subliminal impact. So it's on your mind. So there's that. Then there's, of course, Peter Capaldi. They went and flat out told you that's what the deal was, that Peter at the 10th Doctor was seeing that guy from Pompeii, who was played by Peter Capaldi, and it reminded him of the need for a heroic Doctor or whatever. That was the story. So anyway, it left an impression on him, so he took on that face subconsciously, of course, and so that's why Capaldi's Doctor looked like, Peter Capaldi. So, well, there you go. How about that? So, I think that's about it, though. Yeah. As for why the 10th Doctor returns and that sort of thing, I don't know. They never really explained it, but he did. So, he becomes the 14th Doctor. Yeah. And he's still out there, sitting on Donna's couch. I mean, if they couldn't get David Tennant back, they could have said that Doctor regenerated on his own. He slipped in the bathroom and hit his head on the toilet and had to regenerate. Something like that, and it's some other actor. But, I mean, what the hell's he doing? I mean, the whole world got turned upside down and inside out and all that. Whatever. Anywho, so there you go. You see the guy trying to explain this and say, that's what this could be. Well, all right, that would be the easiest one. Really, it's kind of quick. Says, well, of course, Rose had a powerful influence over the Doctor because he was in love with her. And still, even after he becomes a gay man, still it's so deep in his subconscious. He's just thinking of her. He became Rose. Don't know why didn't become Rose instead of Jodie, but whatever. So that would be the deal. The other possibility is, this might not necessarily be the true Doctor. Well, it isn't. True Doctor's sitting on Donna's couch watching TV. But this would be the influence of what Rose did when she absorbed the heart of the TARDIS, or the time vortex, and all that crap. But of course, in order to save her from dying, the Doctor had to absorb it himself. Of course, this caused him to regenerate into David Tennant. But if this were to hold up, then he should have regenerated into a copy of Billy Piper. But while she was imbued with that, she had abilities over time and space, and all that stuff. So is this, but then the other thing would be the moment, which spoke to the War Doctor and all that stuff. And of course, since this is not bound by time and space, was this the bad wolf element playing out in that as well? Even though it was in the distant past or in the time locked, whatever the hell that's supposed to be, of the Time War. And that's the reach of this thing that has the consciousness of Rose within it. I suppose you could do that. But, what's the point? If the show could have continued, which I just don't, what sugar daddy are they going to find to fund this thing? And why? You might as well flush the money down the toilet, Or burn it. At least that'll give you some heat if it's cold. So, beyond that, what would be the point? I guess just because Billy Piper's not going to sign on to do a couple of seasons as Doctor Who, So you could do some special where it's all explained away, and then you get your actual doctor to take over or some crap like that. But good God, what a mess. I mean, it was so far gone. What else is there, So you might as well do something stupid like that. Hey, Billy, you got a minute? Let's get a shot and superimpose it over a shoot he got with his shoulders. She's not even in the scene. Oh, boy, it's really bad. Oh, jeez. Well, so odds are there's no money left. Oh, boy, they're still waiting on that, the war of land and sea, So, gee, what will the ratings be on that? Maybe that'll be, see, there's still life in it. So, cobble up some money to do another Doctor Who. I doubt it, But, that's it. So, I guess the good news could possibly be that no one will be violating the corpse anymore. For God's sakes, let it go. Now, miss, it didn't have to be this way, but they did it. So anyway, whatever reputation Russell T. Davies had as this mastermind and whatnot, that's gone. You have a stellar reputation until you don't. Because beyond all the messaging, oh boy, it was chock full of that. That's all he could do. And all that sort of stuff. It's just so stupid. So embarrassingly stupid. What a sad end, Of course, you can say, well, my candidate ends with Peter Capaldi, and he's just laying on the floor of the TARDIS, and that's it. I'm sure you can do that. But they did do these other shows, I don't know. Was it a bet between Davies and Chibnall that who could do the worst damage? And I mean, Chibnall gave him a run for his money, because he, Timeless Child is pretty devastating to lore and all that. But I think Davies beat even that. Yeah. Anyway, of course, the hashtag is rest in peace, Doctor Who, and that's really all you can say. And just hopefully no one violates the corpse anymore.